This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Before we jump into Scream, I was thinking about the trucker protests today, and like how yesterday when I was like driving back from jiu-jitsu, the whole the Mel Lastman Square thing was like blocked off, and then the Beecroft side was blocked off too. And it's crazy, like how. So I saw this post about it, and like, you know how they're doing all of the GoFundMe stuff for like, they would like donate to these people and like give them, I guess, like wages or whatever. Like, what was that GoFundMe towards? Do you know anything about that GoFundMe?
Yeah, just like raising money for the protest, I guess.
Yeah, like because they weren't working or something, right? That's what your brother was saying to me in the car. Like,
well, yeah, it's kind of like to pay for the gas that they were driving across Canada or something like that.
Yeah. So it's funny with the GoFundMe thing. So all right, it's good that that's what it's for, because I was wondering like, oh, maybe there was some other like, you know, like political campaigns you like donate towards those things. I was like, is it for that? But
well, I don't know who set up the thing, right? Like
the GoFundMe. Yeah.
Who set up the GoFundMe?
And like who would get the funds?
How does that even
totally
work?
For sure.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to confirm about that one. But if you and your brother and me were all like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's about like paying their wages, let's just assume that's the general thing. So GoFundMe canceled it. Do you see that one?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we're gonna give everybody their money back because it's like violent or whatever. And then I saw, well, one, it didn't seem that violent. Like they were cleaning up after themselves. Did you see those posts about the truckers? Like they were protesting in Ottawa.
Sure. Yeah.
They were cleaning up, like, because they made trash and whatever. And then somebody put this thing about like the Black Lives Matter GoFundMe campaigns and like how come those didn't get canceled, because those were like blatant trashing.
Well, no, not necessarily.
No, but I mean relative, right? So it's like the Black Lives Matter ones were like, you saw people going into malls, shattering things, like breaking things in America. But we didn't see that here, right? Like I didn't see any like videos of them like spray painting and shattering a bunch of stuff and like going and vandalizing basically. So what do you mean by no? Like,
well, they weren't doing it because of Black Lives Matter.
No, I know, but that's what that, like, all right, so yes, but then it got lumped into the thing, just like this trucker protest. It's like those people weren't, like, you can't blame a couple of bad eggs on the whole thing. That's what you're saying, right? That's why you're like, but that understanding should pass over onto the trucker thing as well.
Yeah.
You would agree, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's funny that the post that I saw was like, they didn't cancel those ones, but they canceled this one. And then the way another post I saw was about how they're like, the social media is like finessing it in a way where it's becoming like nurses versus truckers, because like they positioned it like, oh, watch out, nurses, you're gonna get attacked. Even my mom, like her going to work, like,
but weren't they, they were protesting on that side, like the healthcare workers protesting
for sure, but it's like
against them in a way.
But it went from like mandates, truckers against mandates, to like, watch out, healthcare workers, they're coming after you. And it was like,
because I think what happened, like, I think the trucker protest is fine because, right? But
so
who was joining them were people who were anti-vax, or like that's who would be clumped into this already.
Yeah, totally. But it's like, that's why I thought it was interesting, because it's like, they should be able to like protest for their jobs or whatever, but like the fact that like GoFundMe is pulling the money is like kind of weird, relative to the Black Lives Matter one not being pulled.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, where did the Black Lives Matter money go towards? Like, I just saw that
They probably have organizations.
Oh, that they're helping support, right. But this trucker one, there's no like organization.
I don't think there's an official organization. I mean, I don't know. But
right. But so like, how are they even going to spread that money? That was kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I didn't know how they would actually
get that money. Right at the end of it,
they raised a lot of money, but it's not. I don't think all the money is coming from us, right? It's the GoFundMe just is a world thing.
Right, yeah. So like other people,
like Americans putting it.
Do you see what Trump posted about like, oh, the far left has ruined the country, like Trudeau being
I
far
didn't
left.
see that.
Yeah, and then there were some funny memes about like how Trudeau's like hiding because he's got COVID, and he's like, oh, if I didn't have this COVID, I'd be out there like talking to these protesters face to face. Like,
did he? I don't think he said that though.
No.
Those are the memes saying
I was
that.
saying, I was like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of weird though, like the timing of it all. I mean,
just happened to be weird. Yeah.
But you never know. You know what I mean? It's like could like this is a great. Like I saw this this other meme where this person was trying to get time off from work, and they're like, "Oh, last minute thing, family thing." And then
saw the video.
And then it was like back and forth. No, sorry, cancellation, blah blah blah. And then I have COVID. I've like tested positive for COVID, and they're like, "Okay, fine, yeah, take the time," because it's like. It's the one thing we've like fully accepted as a society. I wonder how long that's going to continue actually. Afterwards, like once we've accepted COVID as the flu, like they've been saying. I wonder if like post COVID we could still use that excuse and then be like, oh yeah, sorry, I have to isolate.
I don't think so. I mean,
right? You know what I mean?
As they keep. I mean, they're already talking about like, which is what we knew, like to end up eventually getting rid of these things, like which is already being.
What was it, Alberta or something that they're talking about?
Alberta, Saskatchewan. These provinces have already started or starting to, or they have an end date at least.
Okay, and same with like UK, right? They're done.
UK is already basically open.
Yeah, well, that's good to see.
A lot of parts of America. So like even like our Ontario doctor has been saying that, and Dr. Tam has been saying we gotta.
Oh really?
Yeah. She's like now at this point, like there's.
Oh, dude, you know what? Okay. Sorry, this totally sparked something. I totally forgot I wanted to talk about this on the last podcast. Okay, vaccine wars. I was gonna
vaccine wars. Oh, okay.
We talked about mRNA on the last podcast. Okay, cool. So I finished Vaccine Wars for Business Wars, and I remember I was going to put this up, and then I was like, it's a little too controversial, whatever.
Sure.
So when the vaccines were coming out, this is like, I guess it's like not public, it's public knowledge, but it's more like it's condensed well in Business Wars because like they take that and they disseminate it as like a business strategy. So you know how they're like, oh, we should open up, act like it's the flu. And then I was even saying personally, I was like, well, these statistics don't make any sense. Why would I get boosted, right? Because like the safety. And then my sister yesterday was telling me, so like I've been going to jiu-jitsu, but I only have 2 vax, or I'm not boosted. So surprise if you heard that, if you thought I was, whatever. So I've been going to jiu-jitsu, and then I was like jokingly hugging my sister, and then she was like crying, but I don't know, like I wasn't sure if she was crying for real, or she was like having a tantrum because she didn't sleep. I don't really know. So I was like hugging her, and then she's like, oh, get off me, whatever. And I was like, what? Why? And then she's like, you're gonna give me COVID. And I was like, what are you talking about, bro? You're like 3rd vaxxed. And then she's like, yeah, but you're not. So like, you're gonna pass it on to me, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, chill, bro. And then she's like, somebody in her work is triple vax, and they went to the ICU. So I was like, so it didn't even work, bro. Like you pushing. Anyways, so that's not really it where I'm going, but like it sparked the memory. So the vaccine wars, this was just for AstraZeneca, but I don't know. They didn't explain for everyone. So in order to get the vaccines to cheaper countries, they had to accept. One was. All right, I'll go with the Pfizer one first, because this was crazy. So like Pfizer they were trying to get clearance for not being able to be sued in case if something happens with the vaccine.
Right.
And I think it was New Zealand. it was one of those like European, like far oceanic countries, and they couldn't get the clearance. And then U.S. was like, well, you need to give it to them because we need to vaccinate these people. And they're like, okay, you have to back us using your assets. So like you have to use American assets, like your military bases, your White House, stuff like that, things that you own, that if we can't pay for the legal fees, you have to pay it. Because in case something does happen, we need to be covered because people are going to sue us, right? Because it's untested, right? And then America was like, no, we're not going to do that. It was just in this one country. Like they were doing it all around, but like it was just in one country that they needed extra support with. And then America was like, no, we're not going to back you. So then Pfizer was like, all right, our deal's done here. We're not going to send it to this place because you wouldn't back us up. So then AstraZeneca, they went to them, and then AstraZeneca was like, we need to make profit from this because we can't make you a vaccine and not make any money. So what they said was, give it to us first for a lower price, and then later on, we'll help you with more profits post pandemic. So after the pandemic, once everyone's been vaccinated, the markup that we'll give you on this price will compensate for the stuff that we didn't pay you for in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like pay cheap now, pay more expensive later. And they're like, okay, cool. So you'll help us with the marketing and boosting it up. They're like, yeah, totally. But then sadly enough that they just pulled AstraZeneca from the market. So it's kind of like, that sucks for them. But that story from an AstraZeneca point, they didn't bring up Pfizer or Moderna. So I'm like, I wonder why are they pushing it so hard if these numbers don't make any sense? Is it like because they need to sell more because they promised like we would help you in the back end?
No, we can't say that, right?
No, we can't say that. But I'm saying it happened for AstraZeneca. Like that was actually their deal.
Okay.
So me wondering now.
But then AstraZeneca, they pulled out AstraZeneca.
No,
they pulled them out.
Yeah, it's just the business.
To not use them. Yeah.
No, right, totally. That's why it sucks for them. This is just a business war case. Like it's just like I'm just telling you the strategy that's behind it. So I'm like, but they didn't go into the Pfizer one. I wonder if because that would piss off other people for like boosting, like, you know, because they didn't explain their deal. They just talked about AstraZeneca's deal because AstraZeneca's out of the market now. Nobody's really, except for Asia or whatever. But like, but now really think about that though. Is this a marketing effort post? Because they're like, okay, it's just like the flu. And then I'm looking at the statistics. I'm like, it doesn't seem like it's really doing too much. Obviously, we're getting it for free, but who's paying for that? That's the government's. So are they getting a markup deal? Because we're not paying for flu shots. We're not paying for these like COVID shots.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, what is the back end deal? Why is the marketing so heavy on it? Like they get boosted, even though it's like the severity level is like relatively the same. Because remember, that was my contention. I'm like, why am I going to get boosted if the numbers are relatively similar? And then someone's just like, oh, a triple vax person came into the hospital. Like, exactly. Because it's not really that protective. So why are we going to push it?
Well, based on whatever the study they looked at, it did.
Right. But I'm wondering, no, that's studies, but like, why is the marketing so heavy on like get boosted, get boosted? You see those signs like everywhere, you know? And it's like, if you're now telling me to act like it's the flu, so then why get boosted? See what I'm saying? It's like, it's all marketing now. Just like the flu shot, it's all marketing. We don't really push the flu shot on people. We try to every year. And the reason why they talked about it in the beginning of the vaccine wars is like, you don't make a lot of money on one-off cures. So that's why they're kind of like, they didn't want to fund the vaccine in the beginning because they're like, okay, so everyone gets this is a one-shot deal. We can't make any more money after. So that's why they like therapeutics, like people who invest in vaccines or like pharmaceuticals, right? Like venture capitalists. Because therapeutics are like every month you have to keep paying, like diabetes pills or whatever.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, I just wonder if that's going on here. I wanted to mention that last week because I was like, it was a part of that episode.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? You're like saying like yes, but like.
Well, I can't say anything because I don't know if that's the case.
No, but you like, does it seem far fetched? Do you think it seems like?
No, it's just an idea.
This is a very political response right now.
I know.
But why like you're not in favor or not?
No, because we don't know, right?
No, I know. Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
Okay, sure, but like it's not like, because you know like other vaccine conspiracy people, you're like, okay, this is so far fetched. You know what I mean? Like, but with this one, I'm like, I don't
No,
think
but the reason I'm saying that is just because, like, all of a sudden, like, they had that deal with AstraZeneca, but they're not using AstraZeneca anymore.
No, that was just right, but that was.
But you get what I'm saying.
No, because it failed. So it's like, but I'm saying that Moderna
right. So
and
if
Pfizer
these
still
failed,
on the market,
exactly. If these failed,
then they'd be like, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, but do you see what I'm saying? Where it's like, this seems like it would make perfect business sense to do it like this.
Right, but we don't know that, right?
All I'm saying is like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Whereas other vaccines, like microchips, this is not in that line.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So like if I was like, hey, man,
because what I'm trying to say is that if there was something an issue or it's not really working, then it's like they're not using AstraZeneca anymore, right? Even though they had that deal, right?
No. Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if that was the case for Pfizer
sure.
or Moderna.
No. Right. You're saying that we're not using AstraZeneca anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying because we're not using them, that's okay to give away the secret. But if we're still using AstraZeneca, you would just screw them over by announcing that on the podcast, on their podcast platform, that there's a back end deal to like help boost up. You see what I'm saying? Like, why would you say that? Why would you out them? Like, why would you out Pfizer and Moderna on their strategic plan?
Right.
If we're still using it, because if people heard that on the podcast, like, you're just trying to make money off me, and then nobody will get boosted.
No, I get that.
But what I'm saying is like, it's not in the line of like, oh, vaccines cause like microchips or like they make you.
I understand. Yeah, it's not. We're not talking about extreme conspiracies.
Right. And if I were to say that to you, you wouldn't be like, maybe. You'd be like, no, that's ridiculous. Right. But that's why I'm saying like.
No, all I'm saying is I don't know.
But so you'd say, so if I were like, oh yeah, there's a microchip in the vaccine, you'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you would keep it on that field?
No, I'm saying we've seen how they reacted to AstraZeneca, which was a deal, right? So why wouldn't they act the same way to something else if it's not working?
I don't understand what you're saying.
It wasn't working, even though they had a deal.
No.
They removed it off the shelf, right?
No. Right. It wasn't about the deal. The deal got outed now, right? But I'm saying you can out it now because it's removed from the market. But since things are still in the market, what you say will affect the people's decision.
Okay.
Like, you can say AstraZeneca like tried to make money off the back end only because they're off the market. So nobody cares, right? Nobody cares. It's off the market. But if there were ads like, oh, get your AstraZeneca shot, you'd be like, I just heard on a podcast you're trying to make money.
Okay. I don't know.
So,
I don't know how.
What I'm saying, like logical step. It's like, if AstraZeneca was still on the market and you heard that there's a deal to make money on the back end, wouldn't you be like, why would I get the shot then? It seems like you're trying to make money off me.
Okay.
Well, you agree, yes or no? You wouldn't think like you just heard on a podcast that they're trying to make money on boosters. You wouldn't think that when you're going to get a booster, you would be thinking that, right?
Sure, yeah.
But
I'm thinking like other things. Yeah, I get that.
Then,
so
then you can say it.
No, I know. Well, I don't know what the deal is, right? So.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying you can't say the deal. Like, you're like, I don't know what the deal is. I'm like, yeah, because you can't say it because it's still in the market. If they were to say it now, then we'd all think twice about getting the vaccine because it's right. You agree?
Yeah, sure. Maybe. I don't know.
Like, what?
I don't really have an opinion on this until I've read it myself or seen something like that. Like, was the deal with AstraZeneca thing not known before or outed only after, or was it already?
The first time I heard him on this podcast.
Sure, on the podcast, but was that information already out there?
But what does that have to do with anything? I'm just saying.
So that means, like, is there an information out there about deals for Pfizer?
Yeah, but they didn't put it on this popular podcast that a lot of people listen to.
Sure, that's fine. I'm saying, potentially can there be information of the deal?
Yeah, but even,
out there,
even if there was the deal, information of the deal, if it's like buried in some paperwork that nobody's going to read, then nobody's going to care about it. But I'm saying on this podcast that's very popular, if you say, it's like the Joe Rogan thing, right? We'll get into that after, but if you say it on a podcast that everyone listens to, then it'll affect all those listeners' decision-making behavior. Would it not? But if it was like, yeah, sure, it's out there, but nobody's going to read it, so who cares? Nobody's going to read it.
Yeah, but they're getting the information from what's out there, right? The ones who are making the business wars, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't they say something like, if that was the thing?
Because it would influence people's decision-making behavior post this.
So
there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy. There's a lot of controversy.
Right, so are they being...
They're being very practical by not doing it, because they're like, if we say it, and then everyone's like, oh, you just said that I'm going to make money off it, so why would... Then you're going to be a part of that whole anti-vax conspiracy. And I don't think they want that because they're so popular. Right?
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like, for me, I'm like, this is not adding up now, because I just heard you say on a podcast that another vaccine is getting a back end deal to make more money. So I'm like, why wouldn't you use the exact same practice?
Okay.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you use the exact same practice?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what was the backroom deal exactly. How did that exactly work?
Because they couldn't give money. They can give it to like first world countries. But
so are you? Or was it like
we had to pay
offering it as a cheaper price, but paying for it later?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
No. You offer the first doses, the 2 doses that everyone needs at a lower rate.
Okay.
But then later, because you need to make that money back.
Okay.
We're going to help you with your marketing, and we're going to tell people to keep getting vaccinated.
Oh, is that the actual thing?
That's what I'm saying. Like post COVID, like they're like, you need to help us later on. So it's like they were like, yeah, sure, we'll do that.
Okay.
But like, but why wouldn't people, like, if that's like a business move, why wouldn't we do it with other vaccines too? They just didn't say it in the podcast, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm questioning, are they doing that with the other vaccines? I don't know. Like, why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
Like, if a third world country couldn't pay for it, and then a first world country has to pay for it. So that was basically it. It's like, we couldn't give AstraZeneca to a country that couldn't pay for it. But then these like first world countries are like, well, they need to get it, so we'll pay for it at a lower rate so that you guys can have it. Because they didn't want to give vaccines for free. That was the AstraZeneca.
Yeah, of course. It's just a lot of money to make those vaccines.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They wanted like us to pay for it. But then the countries were like, we can't do that. We can't make our people, pay for it. Oh, there's like a lot of squirrely shit going up. A lot of squirrely stuff going on with like business,
Sure.
It's just like, when it doesn't add up, it's just like, it like, again, totally for vaccines. The numbers add up. Like, you should definitely get vaccinated. I'm just wondering what like the
at least 2. Yeah.
At least two. But like, what are what's going on after? Like, why are we being marketed so heavy to get the booster, but then it's like, yeah, but we should also act like it's the flu. Oh, most people are also going to get it. Even with this like trucker thing, right? Like, they're all protesting, but it's like, in a couple months they're going to be gone, and like the mandates are going to be gone. So why are we so upset? You know what I mean? Like,
actually, a lot of it's, I don't know, I heard this, but I haven't double checked it, which was if it's the trucker mandate thing because they can't cross borders, or they can't come into Canada because they have a vaccine mandate, right?
Yeah.
But you can't go to the US either without a vaccine.
That's why they're pissed. Yeah. So it's
but then what's Canada? That's US law.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, true. You're
right.
You
got what I'm saying? Like, Canada has their own for people coming in, but you can't even go to America though.
That's true too. Yeah. See, we're not even thinking of it fully. What are we doing?
That's why it's like it all combined into one, which is like just to be against mandates, just in general.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
But it's like it's
which is like, we're going to go in that direction.
That's what I mean. It's like, nobody had the foresight to be like, hey, it's already going there. Like, what do you want to do?
I mean, like, if they were really against mandates, you should have done that from the beginning.
Yeah. Exactly, dude. Okay, actually,
it's just like, now we're at the end part, and this is a new version of COVID where it's so like less severe.
Like, what is that, subtle COVID now, where it's like,
or like, have it? Yeah, like, but I'm just saying, like, wait, what is it called again? I forgot the one that we were on.
Omicron.
Oh, Omicron. Yeah, I forgot the name. Yeah, that version is less severe. It's like, we're gonna go in that direction, of opening up, and you know what I mean.
It's
Like
chill, bro. Just
like I don't know why we didn't do it in the beginning. Like this is at the end of it. Seems like already. Like we're at the end of COVID.
Or maybe because they're like, but maybe they're like, oh, it's so less severe that like let's just get rid of the mandates earlier. Maybe because like I mean, in the beginning, like yeah, sure, we didn't know what we were dealing with. It was much worse.
No, yeah.
So,
but those same. I don't want to say all of them are like that. I'm sure many of them are probably already double vaxxed, like the ones who are in the protest too. You know, but there are people in there that are anti-vax and don't want mandates too. So
and like
that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want to deal with it.
Like you were saying, you said this like earlier in other podcasts where it's like, if you're not gonna get it, you're not gonna get it at this point. Like there's nothing that's gonna change you. It's been 2 years. Like
didn't they backed out of that tax thing in Quebec?
Oh, they did?
I heard.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because that's ridiculous too. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. No, I think again it was like a red herring.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah. Because somebody got out of office.
Yeah.
Do you know this Aaron O'Toole thing? I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. So he's been.
All right. Wait. Let me before you go into that. One, I don't understand it, so I'm going to ask you right now.
Okay.
And two, I seem like I don't care. Like I actually don't care.
Sure.
It's politics. Like how is this actually going to affect anything? But it's on everyone's minds right now. Like I went over to my parents. Oh, they brought it up. I was like hanging out with your brother and my sister, and like brought it up. I'm like, oh god, why are you guys bringing this up? Like, what is there something I should know about with this? And then my sister's like, dude, you should watch more of the news. I'm like, for what? Like, what did this do for your life? Like, did it affect me on the day to day? I don't know. Like, you tell me.
Of what happened?
Like, I don't know I have no idea what the Aaron O'Toole. I just know that he's a conservative that spent 17 months in position. They voted him out. But like, why'd you vote him out, bro? Like,
so they felt like he wasn't strong enough to beat Trudeau. So he's not going to be. Oh my God!
If you could see my face right now,
he can't.
Like, what? That's it. That's it. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
no, that's not the direction that I guess the Conservative Party wants to go. So
I heard
they're looking for a new leader. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very
Conservative Party.
That's a very measured answer. My sister was like, "Oh, it's because he was back and forth on the vaccine thing." I'm like, "Really? That's why you voted him out?" Like, I couldn't understand. Like, is there something going on with the vaccine?
Well, yeah. So I just maybe the Conservative Party is. I forgot what the vote count was, but like 50. Oh, not 50. There wasn't 50-50, but it was like he was too. Maybe he was too left conservative.
Okay.
Than being too right. So that's which direction do the Conservative Party want to go, right? So they didn't maybe they didn't like that he was a bit too left.
That's so weird.
So
why can't we be like centrists, man? Like, why do we need such a strong party opinion? You know what I mean? Like, you're not on our side.
Well, that's what they thought would work, right? Which was being left and just for left from their right is more towards centrist.
Yeah.
Right. So
why didn't we do that?
But I guess because a lot of people in the Conservative Party isn't left.
Oh, so
they're more right. So
you're not repping our team hard enough.
Yeah. So like within like people who are conservative didn't like him too. A lot of people, I guess. So.
But how does that affect us on a day to day? Like, how does that actually affect us?
Of what just happened directly right now?
Yeah, like
it doesn't affect us right now. But who their leader could be next. And if that's the right person, maybe all of Canada would vote for him. I don't know. Not all, but
so that
majority.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, why are we getting so up in arms about this one thing? Why is this on everybody's like?
Well, it's just because current news.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the Aziz Ansari, his stand up about like, what's the new thing? We're all just gonna like jump on the new thing, but it's like, what are like the more underlying things? You know, like they say if you want to look at a pattern, you have to look at it over time. You don't look at like the day-to-day change. So it's kind of like, that's kind of how I feel. It's like if it's so rapid every single day, it's like there's so many things that happen every single day. It's like just look at the span, you know, like what are the key points of the span? How's that changing our societal trajectory? Not like, okay, this guy got voted out and then they vote in somebody more conservative. Cool.
Well, we don't know.
No, you know what I mean? Like, if that does happen.
That's why we'll see what happens, who they pick as their...
If they pick somebody more left, it'd be like, then why don't you just stick with Aaron O'Toole, bro? Like, that's the only way you can go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you voted him out because he was a little too left, obviously you got to go harder on the right. But if you vote...
There's someone on there that I think he's going to win.
Oh,
that leadership role.
The interim lady is the one who called Trudeau out for the blackface. That is also something that frustrated me when he was like, I was totally with her on that one when she's like, oh yeah, like him being like racist, misogynist, blah, blah, these truckers. And she's like, I take offense to that because on countless occasions he's worn blackface. And it's like, yeah, bro, like, how are you going to call somebody out on something that you've been caught doing?
But was it knowing that it was racist then when he was doing it?
No, and that's why I think it's ridiculous. We just change our perspective on things that meet our quote unquote new woke ideology. So like you're like, oh, was it racist when he was doing it? No, maybe not. But it's like, but it's still on the whole, like what, like we've come so far. So now you're going to look back, you're going to look at these other people and be like, oh, you guys are racist misogynists. Why don't you look at them like, hey, this is your point in time. And I'm sure in the future you're going to grow just like I grew. Like that's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you going to label people when you just got labeled? Didn't you just learn from that experience of being labeled as like being racist yourself? Do you know what I'm saying?
But was he racist? That's what I'm saying. Was he racist at the time when he was doing it?
No, but we look back now and we're like, that was racist.
Yeah, we consider that as being racist. Right.
So we're looking at the people, he's looking at the people now, are racist, misogynists, these truckers.
Okay.
Right? But you see how he grew in that time to them.
Sure.
Right? So why don't you look at other people like that, works in progress?
But what I'm saying is, are they currently racist, the ones he's talking about?
I don't know. He's just calling them that.
Yeah. Right.
That's another thing. Like, how do you know? Like, you're going to blanket statement everyone? Just like he said in that interview, like, everyone who's not vaccinated is a racist misogynist. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, it's crazy to me. Like you got caught as a work in progress. Why can't you look at other people like works in progress? Or just like totally disassociate yourself completely, Like, I mean, he's a world leader. So you can't
I think he needs better wordage here because I don't think blanket statements like that
it's crazy
is not a smart idea, and I think there are people that just it has affected their lives, right? It's uprooted their lives, and I think that you need to be a bit more considerate of those.
Yes. All right.
At least of understanding of the pain that they're in.
Totally. I'm not going to name who this person was, but what this person said, you're going to know exactly who it is. But what this person said was so poignant. Remember, I was like, oh, I can't believe you're out in this snowstorm. And he's like, well, I'm not educated enough to stay indoors working remote. And I was like, damn, that's true. And like, not a shot at you, but like, it's like, we are all living different perspectives. So like this Trudeau thing, it's like, just, like your life didn't get affected. You're not a trucker, bro. So you can stay indoors and do whatever you want. But like, what about the people whose lives are really affected? We need to really consider these people's like livelihood. Yeah, dude, my freaking heart's been hurting so bad after like recently, like working with this like nonprofit work is like so sad sometimes because like I work with like this other nonprofit and like so I was in my bubble, right? So like, we're working on like housing for people who don't have sufficient income. And I thought like, cause we live in this apartment, I was like, okay, so like heating, flooding, no cockroaches, these are standard. That is not a standard for every building. And I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like some building, like the ones we work with are like, they have like flooding, 4 feet of flooding, mold in every floor, cockroaches, infestation, rats. And I'm like, wait, what? And I was like, why would you live there? And they're like, well, we can't afford any other place. And I was like, damn, I didn't even think about that. I thought there was a standard of living that I didn't even know about.
That's a bit naive on your part.
No, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but that is also like a Trudeau naivety.
Yeah.
That is also like that's like a naivety for everyone. We need to really, like I understood like different parts of the world, It's like, yeah, I get it. Third world, you have to deal with that totally. But I didn't know it was happening right in front of my face because I went to go visit the location. I looked at it from the outside. I was like, the surrounding areas are gentrified, and then this one building is like dilapidated.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, people live here, and they have to live here. You know, you see it in Scarborough too. You see some of those buildings too. Now I just drive by like apartment buildings. I'm looking at the balconies and I'm trying to figure out like, is this like a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, so we can't live in other people's shoes. So we just have to assume, like, I don't even know how to answer that. Like how to, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like to call them misogynist, racist, bro, you're not even living in their shoes. You know?
Yeah.
There's I was watching a Vince Staples interview, and he was talking about like the interviewer. So Vince Staples is super real. He lives in Compton still, and like he's like very he's very with it. And the interviewer was like, how do you, as a member of your society, how do you elevate political understanding and consciousness towards members in your group? And he's like, honestly, how can you do that? It's like there's other things that other people have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, you know? And then I came up with this line where it's like, there's more fish to fry when you don't have fish to fry.
Okay.
Right? Because it's like you have bigger problems, that you have more immediate problems. Like I can't pay for food versus like our president is a racist. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like relative perspective. Yeah. That's a big rant.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's with the Trudeau thing and like the trucker issue that's going on right now. It's like we don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
All right. All right, cool. Nothing to say on that. You're just like, all right.
Yeah, I haven't really been paying attention too much to politics in recent couple months, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too much sometimes. You just need to take a break from it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just feel very, like COVID's really made us all look at things differently and to show us all how we don't really know what we think we know. Like we're so, I think I read this in a book. It's like, I think I brought it up last week too. It's like, you go to like the teams where they're like, oh, I'm all for Obamacare, I'm all against Obamacare, and you ask them what the actual policy is and they don't even know. And it's like we're so divided and like headline ridden that we've chosen sides and we don't want to move from that side.
Yeah, that's why we need to be a bit more
like centrist in our viewpoint, you know? It's like very weird.
Yeah, it's the world. I mean, like here too, especially in America, it's like the country is divided. So things that pass are going to be in like compromised, right? Like you're not going to get one side or the other side, right?
Yeah.
So like in America, for instance, the Senate's like 50-50 kind of thing, right? Which represents what America is right now.
Yeah.
50-50.
Right.
So you can't pass, you have to pass things that are in the middle that everyone generally agrees with versus things that are extremes on either side won't pass.
So then, is it better to just run a country like a dictatorship? As long as you have a good leader.
Well, then, really of course, if it's a good leader, sure. But it just, the government represents just what the people are going through right now. So things won't pass if people are not. If it's a mixed cabinet, then it's going to be, everything's going to be generally compromised. No.
Yeah, and
that's right now America is divided in that sense.
Yeah, I think the whole world's divided, and there's almost like a point of diminishing return. I was thinking about this too. Like I was watching a Tupac interview. I posted one about him.
I think. Sorry, I think the issue. I don't know if this is necessarily the issue, but like, it's just because you have the alternate media and mainstream media.
Oh yeah.
Right, like you have two
opposing factions,
things, but like, you know, that's what's causing the issue, where it's like we distrust the mainstream,
yeah,
but we trust the alternate.
It's weird,
but like it should be the same way for both, right?
Yes, a healthy distrust of both.
Yeah. But that's not the way it works.
Or healthy skepticism.
Healthy skepticism of both. Yeah. But that's not how it works. We don't trust mainstream, but we trust.
But you know why? because we have more fish to fry than what's in front. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that are pressing in front of us that we don't need to worry about that. It's like, oh, tax reform. Oh, I got to get my kid to daycare. You know, it's like I really think that philosophy is a privilege. Like, thinking is a privilege.
Like, I haven't broken it down, but from what other people have into like what Biden has done, it generally has helped families.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But if you didn't know it was Biden, then you don't know.
Right. Yeah. And like, who would you root for?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's like, it helps a lot of people who are with families.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that he passed. So it's like, but if you don't know it was him, then that's why he's like under a very approval rating is super low. Right?
Oh, he has a marketing problem.
Yeah.
It's always a marketing problem.
I think it's just COVID. It's just like we're.
Oh, dude. All right, yeah,
we're done with this.
You're right. Totally. All right, so I think I have this as a topic. Yes, I do. Crypto wars. So I listened to the next podcast on Business Wars about crypto. Okay, so fun fact, it was actually, Silk Road, like online where you can like get drugs. That was actually a big proponent of using crypto because it was a way to sell illegal things without tracing where the money came from. Okay, that aside, it talked about the crypto bubble. Remember how I was like, oh, this seems like a bubble? Apparently it already did pop. It was during we watched it, Hold the Line.
Oh, right.
Remember that? Yeah, so that was just showing like the volatility of crypto. And it came up in the podcast, but you were like, oh, it's just COVID. What they said in the podcast was the reason why crypto got really big recently is because people were getting stimulus checks and they had no idea what to do with their time.
Right.
So they're just like, why don't I just invest some of this in crypto? People were making like money quickly with this.
Yeah.
It's like, if you are stuck at home with nothing to do and you're being given money, I'm all for UBI, but
I feel like that's what they did, though.
That is what they did.
What America did was UBI.
Totally. But in relation to crypto, it's
that. That's why there's an inflation issue now.
Because we had nothing to do we had nothing better to do.
We have more money out in the world.
Plus stay inside.
And so staying inside. That's why there's an inflation issue.
Yeah. And what they were going through, like, individuals on the podcast who, like, they would bet their whole life savings on it, and they'd be like, oh my god, I can get rich, and they'd watch it every day, and it would grow and grow and grow, and then like the next day it dropped like zero, and they were like, I lost all my savings, which is like the definition of a bubble. But like, it's the bubble popped, right? It's like growing and popped. But like, that just speaks to like our greed. That speaks to our boredom. That speaks to like what we value as a society. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I think these last 2 years have been such a introspective look on our lives. Yeah,
it's a great study on humans.
Yeah, right. Say. And like they were saying, like a lot of people got divorced too because they were stuck inside with their spouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a huge thing. You didn't hear about that?
I think I did hear that in the beginning. Yeah, that this may happen
because we were stuck.
Right.
You couldn't leave. You were like locked down with that person,
right.
And then usually you have like an 8-hour shift.
They were also anticipating a baby boom though, which didn't happen.
Yeah. Because people were really like reading more about society and like, oh, this is kind of messed up. I don't know if I want to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I think so, but it's like because everybody was home, they expected
totally
a baby boom, but
like
that didn't happen. I don't think.
Yeah, because I think that especially with the way, there was a puppy boom.
Oh yeah, there was a puppy boom. Yeah,
and that was even the Pope, right? He was like, why are you gonna deprive the world of children?
Right.
But it's kind of ironic to say, because you don't have any children, bro.
Right. Please lead by example.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, this is insanity. Like, if you really look at, all right, and then this brings back. All right, so now I said insanity. This brings back the whole Tupac thing, because like I was watching some recent interviews, like I was just like feeling really bad. Like it just came up. So Tupac was like going off about society, and I'm like, yeah, everyone thinks he's a revolutionary. He's crazy. No, he just knows a lot about how the world works, you know? And I think that there's really a point of diminishing returns where you learn too much and you can piece things together. It's almost like being a conspiracy theorist, but like in the other direction.
Yeah.
You know, because like conspiracy theorists, they do such a deep dive that they're able to piece everything together. And when they tell you something, they're like, you just don't understand the 27 steps that got to this point, right? So it's like, we're talking about vaccine economics, but you don't understand economics, so then you don't understand back end deals. You know what I mean? Like, we're like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So it's like, to the average person, it seems crazy. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like if I were to be like, yeah, they're gonna make back like I heard on this podcast they're making back and just, oh, that's not real. They wouldn't do that. Altruism, and it's like there's a point of diminishing returns where you're just like, I know too much that is just making me seem crazy and feel crazy. Nobody's talking about the Pope not having children and giving us advice about how we should have children. That makes no sense to me. See what I mean?
Right.
It's like just piece together the hypocrisy.
Yeah. That's why I read the comments. It's always funny.
Why? Because they're pretty woke, or what?
Yeah, I mean that's what I said was from the comment. Someone in the comment wrote that.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so there's some people out there that like totally get it, but it's like they seem crazy now because like, well, what the Pope says.
Oh no,
I don't. God, bro.
No, they were. I wouldn't say that. It's just like they were just reporting on what he said. But do the people agree with what he said? And that I see that in the comments, right?
Right, yeah. Right. I see what you're saying, yeah. Like mainstream media trying to push this one way, but then you could see
they're not pushing it any way.
No, but they put it out. They're like, hey.
No, I don't think they're putting it in a way. They're putting it that he said this. That's it.
Oh, I see.
It's like reporting the news.
Right. But like I said, like any bit of framing is because you can't ever not have anything that's not biased. The only way to do it is just like a transcript. You just have a transcript of the thing.
No. But I think for the media, where it's more like, oh, this is going to get us attention.
But
because he's saying this.
But how do you get the attention? It's how you frame it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just like
no. It's the title of the article. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Of course.
That's why it's like it's framing. So it's like they're pushing us one way. Because if you look at the same article, you'll see a different headline in both statement, like both events, right? And like that will push the general public in one way or another.
Because they just read headlines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like.
But that's what they want, right?
That's what they want. Yeah.
They want
division,
people to react.
Yeah.
That's what makes it become more popular.
They don't want division. I don't think, because that's just too nefarious.
I don't think they want necessarily division. They just want attention. They just want attention. They want attention.
But the
because they're all competing with everything, right? So
totally.
Like they're competing with alternate media. They're competing with other news sources, right? Yeah. So who's getting the clicks?
Totally.
Right, so to read those articles.
So I think it's more of like division is a symptom, but it's not the root cause. The root cause is the framing.
Yeah.
But that goes back to, all right, who is our general audience? If your general audience is right wing, why would you make a left wing?
Exactly.
Headline.
Type of headline. Yeah.
Right. But then if you create a right wing headline, it just further cements the right wing that they're correct. That's why you can look at like two different articles on the same topic, different headlines. But see, that's like 10 steps ahead again. You know?
Yeah.
Like if we were to say that in general conversation, you'd have to understand about framing biases, how marketing, like how headlines work. You know what I mean? About like you can hit a point where you can just know too much about a topic that when you try and convey it in its dumbest form, it can be like difficult to do, or like you just seem crazy. Yeah. What were you?
I thought I had some. No, it's okay. Just double checking if I had something else to talk about too.
Vish is searching up.
Oh. How do I check my reading? No, I guess not. I don't think I did. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I think we need to fundamentally understand that at our root, we are storytellers. I read that in Sapiens. I didn't make that up. That was in Sapiens.
Yeah.
And like human beings at their core are storytellers, right? But what is marketing? Marketing is just the telling of a story, right? At its principle.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah, I did have, actually, I found it, which is like the headline storytelling. It's something like the Tesla recalls.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Tesla's recalling. Well, we understand the recall meaning that you have to bring it into the shop and get it fixed.
Right.
So the Tesla's recall, the latest one was like about the car under FSD doing a rolling stop versus like actually stopping at a stop sign, like an always stop sign.
Yeah.
That was what the recall was, that it was doing that.
Yeah.
So to fix that was Tesla sends out a software update.
Oh.
To not do that.
So you didn't even need to bring it in.
So it's not a recall where you bring it in.
It's an update.
It's an update. It's like it's a bug. No, it's not a bug, sorry. It's like Apple sending out a fix.
Yeah, like iOS updates.
Yeah, so does the iPhone have recalls all the time? That technically is considered a recall.
That's so true. See, it's like, which way did you want it to spin?
Yeah,
really,
but like we don't use, but for cars, I understand because it's a car. They're using the word recall, right?
Yeah.
But if you read the article, it's not a traditional recall. It's a software update.
And that's why it's bananas to me, because like we don't understand this fundamentally as people. Like, I don't even think people understand.
Because someone said that at work to me. It's like, oh, I heard about the recall. So yeah, it's just a software update that they're gonna fix, and I don't even have that because I don't have FSD. So,
but to go back to your point about like the headline.
Yeah.
It's like, which way did you want to go? If you had written like, Tesla provides software update to fix issue, that
would be a totally different understanding.
Like, okay, totally software update, man. Yeah.
It won't have the same emphasis as recall.
Yeah, but you chose that word in particular.
Yeah.
And so I think that we don't do enough interest. Like, we spend our time in school learning about the world, but we have no idea about ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think even to understand something as simple as we're storytelling beings, if you like, that is such a huge mind blow statement. I remember when I read it, I was like, whoa, what a great way to put this. Because I knew there was something with marketing. I was like, why do I like marketing and martial arts and blah, blah, blah. Like, what's this like esoteric spiritual thing, right? But then when they said like storytelling beings, everything made sense. Because like, even when you do things, it's a story to yourself. Like, can I do this? You have to create a story to yourself why you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every action is predicated by a story.
Mm-hmm.
But how many people know that?
Right.
Or how many people hear that and they have like 20/20 hindsight bias? Like, yeah, I knew that. And it's like, but you're not acting in the way that you know that story. You know what I mean? You're not being sentient over the pulls of the world.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I kind of written this up too. The documentary that we were talking about. Do you read that combo? I won't name who the person is.
Documentary?
Yeah, we're talking about doing a documentary and like how we become more materialist as a species because we've lost touch with the religion and spirituality.
Okay.
Like the
That was the
doc. Not there's not out in the world.
No.
We're talking about
a
doc that's going to be created. I don't want to give that away, but like so what I said was like, yeah, but it's just marketing got better. And they're like, no, it's like we lost touch with the religion. I'm like, there's a difference between religion and spirituality. So if you don't understand fundamentally if there's a difference between religion and spirituality, or that we're storytelling beings and marketing is the core, then it's like, how do I connect the dots for you? You know what I mean? Like 10 steps ahead again. It's like, because is there a difference between religion and spirituality?
Well, what does religion mean?
Doctrine. Religion is just like a composite.
And what does spirituality mean?
Okay, so religion, well, I guess that's your first definition. If you can't define those two separately, that if you think that they're one, then you're already off the path.
Yeah, or are you saying that you can reach spirituality with religion, being a part of a religion?
But I was like, no, I personally didn't achieve that.
Right. No, I'm saying like, can you? As in,
of course you can, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where is that where he's coming from, right? I don't think he's necessarily saying his religion, but saying a religion.
He's very.
I know.
but okay, but at the core of it, if you look at it like a reductionist point of view, if spirituality is what you're trying to seek, and there's multiple ways to spirituality, then it's not the way, it's the spirituality itself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if
that's
you're
why
gonna say,
right, that's why I was like asking for the definition of spirituality, because I've seen where atheists say, well, I get my spiritual meaning like when I look up into the stars.
Exactly. So okay. So religion is a should I define doctrine? Do you know what I mean?
Guess, yeah, I define
So
it.
a doctrine is basically a collection of writings that create laws based off of something, right? So like you can say that there's scientific doctrine, which is like physics. You can say that there's like Catholic doctrine, which is like the writings about Jesus. And you have to read it and you have to interpret, you know what I mean? Like a collection of ideas written down, codified. And then spirituality is just a connection to yourself and others. That's it.
Okay.
Right, because that's at its core. That's what when you said, "Oh, I get my spirituality from space." Yeah, because you're connecting to yourself and others, the universe, and who you are within the universe. That's what spirituality is, right? But you don't need religion to get to spirituality. Like, oftentimes people who go into religion, they miss spirituality because they're so focused on religion.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, Jesus said this," but it's like, well, what was Jesus saying to do? Jesus said never. Like, he's like, you can find God everywhere. You don't need to go to church. So why do we go to church?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're looking more at.
I used to say that too.
Exactly. So it's like there's, like you can find spirituality through religion, but I often find that people get lost in religion in pursuit of spirituality.
Right. Okay.
Right. And then we understand the marketing thing. So I personally don't think that we became more consumerist because we lost our religion and spirituality. I think marketing just got better. Like we understand.
Yeah, I think they got better at telling their story.
Exactly, which is, and we have now, we have targeted ads.
Yeah, even more now, yeah.
We have product placement. These things weren't created in the 1920s. They were new understandings.
Right.
So the reason why consumerism got more popular, like why does everybody want like Prada shoes or whatever, is because the marketing got more targeted. That's it. And we have more of if you don't have children, you have more of an economic expense. Like you have more money to like spend on frivolous items.
Right. Okay.
But the statement was like, oh, we were more religious back then. But I'm like, that makes no sense.
But what does that mean in the sense of betterment of life, though? Or like an individual?
Oh, what a great question. What do you mean?
Are we better off now, or are we better off then? Or were we better off
If
then?
you read the book Enlightenment now, we're better off now.
Right.
Because technology helped us get to a better point. Like there's less hunger, there's less disease.
Right.
But those are like
so then it's not
environmental factors.
So what I'm saying, is there benefit or what?
Has technology doomed us?
Yeah. Or have we just gotten better? That means then it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that means it's nothing to do with religion necessarily.
It's more like your distaste for materialism is really what the documentary is about. But which is actually kind of interesting because there's now a resurgence towards spirituality. So a lot of people are just living minimalist, like Kanye West, right? He doesn't own a house. He's like, I don't need those material things. So it's like, I think life is just a cycle of ebb and flow. Like it's like, we'll become materialist, we'll realize that's not the answer, then we'll become dematerialist. Then we'll be like, wait, we don't have anything, so we'll start buying more things. It's just like a cyclical thing. That's why the Buddha said like the middle path. It's like, it's not bad to like those Prada shoes, but it's also important to understand that Prada shoes aren't the be all end all of your existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sorry if you hear like dogs scurrying around in the background. Athena's like moving around. I think that like I don't think there's anything wrong with purchasing things. No. As long as you don't attach to those things as like this is going to provide me with the answers I need in life. Or like love. I need love. So if I buy this thing, that's more like maladaptive behavior.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But again, I was like, I think fashion's pretty cool. I think it's cool because it's like, like visually it's cool. The marketing behind it's cool. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I like technology, so I'm very materialistic in that sense too.
So why we need to vilify these things? I think
there's no good and bad in that sense of these things.
Right.
They can be misused, but that can happen on either side.
But you can misuse anything. It's sure. You can misuse water You know, you can die if you drink too much water. So it's like water's healthy for you. You can also misuse it. You know, so it's like understanding that everything in life has like a good and bad.
Right. There's a balance.
I think this is a Western issue, though. I really do. If you like study Eastern things, or you speak to people from like different countries, they understand this balance of like good and evil. They're not as
because you're more in face with it, right? You're more in front of these things. While here, like I'm watching Amazing Race, where they don't understand how this person went to a third world, and they're calling it like using the derogatory way of saying, oh, it's a third world, it's like it's messy, dirty, smelly, whatever. Yeah. And then it's like, but like, do you know why that is? Do you know what happened to get them into that position? It was European countries that came in and ransacked it. So you stole everything, and then and then you're blaming them for being in that situation.
Exactly. And it's so frustrating to me when you don't zoom out and understand the bigger picture, because it's like, oh yeah, that place smells. It's like, you know, this place used to be utopia before, right? So that would be like if China ends up ruling the world and they destroy America, people go to America. Actually, you can go to parts of America
it's like look at how does France have all that money? They're still connected with African countries to this day.
France?
That's a lot of their money's coming from Africa.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're not ruling it, but they are like there's like
taxes extorting it.
Things like that. Like they can't do certain things. I don't know, like money still going back to France. Like how did the UK be so successful? Well, they went around and stole everything.
So, right, exactly. Right? Yes, yeah.
So it's like, well, then that's why they're in those positions what they're in, because you've left you left them in that state.
That's so funny that you say that. So we went to, on that like world trip, we went to Rome first. Our last stop was Greece. So we went to Rome, and then we saw the Vatican, and we're like, wow, this is so amazing. Like, you guys have all these statues from around the world. Like, if you go to the Vatican Museum, it's like amazing. Gold.
Right.
It's like has all of the treasures. Right. And you're like, oh, this is the religion of peace, right? This is Jesus' religion, blah, blah, blah. We go to Greece, and then we go to these museums, and they like have like barely any statues. And I asked the person, like, where did these statues go? And like, the Romans took them, or the Catholics took them.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, we didn't think about that. Like you don't understand in that there were times like the winner is always the one who, I don't want to say like evil, but like they.
But lead this history story too. Like we all think Europeans, Pythagoras, or like all these guys, or it's European.
History's told by the winner.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's it's like these guys figured it out before the rest of the world.
It's like that's not true. That's in the Indian
that's
text
not true though.
Right? The Persians knew about like mathematics for a while. The Indians knew about mathematics for a while. And like, let's just remarket it and say that this was a.
I don't know if they were necessarily. It's not that remarketed. It was just they weren't telling further into the history, right?
Yeah.
We're just telling European history.
Right.
If you had to go way back, then that's why I see it more and more now, where there's a lot of. There are people trying to spread that information, which is it wasn't in Europe where they discovered this or something.
Which is the beauty of the internet, that we can actually find people that are trying to tell the story. Whereas before the internet, it's like I almost want to change the classification. So like, you know how like I was saying like, oh, the internet was the age of enlightenment, but when I was reading those other books, apparently the age of enlightenment happened before, and that was when they came up with the scientific method.
Okay.
Once they created the scientific method, they called that the age of enlightenment, because from there they had something to base their understanding around, like testing.
Okay.
You know, like hypotheses, testing, retesting, stuff like that. Because before that, it was just religious doctrine, and then they created the scientific method. You know, I think what we're seeing now is the age of illumination. Not enlightenment, just illumination, because you're like shining a light on information.
Sure. Yeah, I was about to say age of information.
I just want to make it sound cooler.
Age of
information is like age of illumination, like marketing, right? So it's like it seems more spiritual.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, it's not even spiritual. It's more like seems more esoteric, and esoteric things are cool. People like that stuff.
Right at this current time, yeah.
Right. Yeah. age of illumination. It's the age of information, bro. But yeah, basically the same thing.
Right.
And it's like, we wouldn't know these things if you didn't do like a deep dive on. But then again, I go back to, there is a point of diminishing returns, because you can know too much now where you're just so disconnected from like regular conversation. Not in an elitist way. Like, I'm not trying to say that. It's just like, it just skews more of it creates more multitudes of perspectives. Right. So like, before, when we had like one media outlet, we were all thinking the same. Right? Did you see Conan O'Brien last night? Oh, water cooler talk, right? But now the water cooler is rife with different topics, because you can just Google something. You're like, oh, dude, I remember I was at my other work and we were all talking about something at, actually I don't want to name the place, but we were like all in the general chat, and then like aliens had just come out. So I was like, hey, did you guys see this thing? Right. And they were just like, what a weirdo. But I'm like, dude, we're just consuming different information. You know what I mean? Like, aliens are important too. Like, they just admitted that aliens are real, but they're all like, oh yeah, this other thing. Yeah. Again, you seem crazy if you know too much. It's like, let's just talk about what everyone's talking about.
Right.
Keeps you safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a long thing. All right. Let's go into the Joe Rogan controversy. I didn't even know this was going on, and then I saw him post something about it, and then I was like, let me go watch this video that they were talking about. Like, I saw his apology. I'm like, why are you apologizing, bro? What?
Oh, okay.
And then I went to go look for the video that he referenced in
the two videos.
The N-word video.
Oh, that
I'm
one.
talking about that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the COVID misinformation.
Oh yeah, that was. I'm saying like this N-word video
was just super recent.
Yeah. So I was like,
COVID one was last week, or like the beginning of the week, right?
Defame this guy.
Yeah. And at the end of this week was the N-word situation.
All right, so you're saying that the N-word one is not where. All right, let me set the stage. So basically, somebody put a compilation video of Joe Rogan saying the N-word like 28 times. But
okay, I don't know the number. Sure.
It's just, I remember him. Okay. It's like the 28 times.
Oh my God.
But then oh, sorry, guys. All right. I don't think I'm going to cut that out. That's fine. That was like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. So he said like the N-word like 28 times. But what the thing is they cut up pieces where he's quoting other things.
Okay.
He didn't say it as a like statement. He wasn't like, oh, this person is. He was just like, and then they said this, you know, and they cut it up and they spliced it all together. So it's just him saying that word over and over and over. And he said like, oh, I watched the video too. It was pretty bad. But like, understand that these were chopped out of context. I was saying things. I didn't even finish the whole video because I'm like, yeah, I know you're not racist, bro. Like, chill. And then everyone now is like posting, you know, I'm with Joe Rogan, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw in my feed like, oh, Rock stands with Joe Rogan or whatever, like sides with him. So I thought it was about the N-word thing, but then you're like, no, it was about the COVID.
I thought it was about the COVID thing because I heard that the Rock thing earlier in the week when it was about COVID misinformation. That the first, wasn't that his first, like when he talked about it first time about that was with the Neil Young's thing. Did he mention Neil Young in this video?
No, he did another video. I saw that video as well.
So the Neil Young one.
Okay, so he had 2 videos this week. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the Neil Young video, I thought it was The Rock replying to that one.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
If I'm correct. I think I'm correct. I hope I'm correct.
Yeah, I just feel like there's just so much like blown up right now.
Yeah.
He posted an apology video about the Neil Young thing, and then he posted another video about apologizing about the N-word thing, and it's just like, why are you trying to kill this guy so hard? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very odd. And then people who are supporters are like, if they cancel Joe, they can cancel anyone.
Okay.
You know, because he's so big right now.
Sure.
You know, and it does seem like a cancel campaign towards him. So everyone that was like on the podcast is all like, oh, I stand with Joe. I stand with Joe. And I'm like, how many people that called him a racist actually watched the podcast or seen his episode like guest list? He's friends with Dave Chappelle.
Right.
Donnell Rawlings, who's friends with Dave Chappelle, he's another comedian, posted, "I'm with Joe." He's like, "Do you think that if Joe was a racist, this image would happen?" And it was like Dave Chappelle, Donnell Rawlings, and Donnell Rawlings, and Joe Rogan.
Right.
So it's like, what do you mean racist, bro? He's friends with, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
weird that we're trying to do this now. Yeah. You said you had something about it. You were like, you tell me about.
I think I did tell you. Well, it was like it was more about the COVID misinformation, not necessarily this thing. This thing is super new, right? So it's
I thought you were talking about this thing.
No, there isn't anything. Oh, like about this. Yeah, he was quoting someone.
Remember,
and Anna Kasparian from TYT. I think someone had put out a video of them saying the N words, like cut up like the same way Joe Rogan thing was, but they were doing it in the context of what was said in a quote.
Yeah, same with Joe
to
Rogan.
Give the proper like context of what was happening, like whatever the story was.
Yeah.
News story was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, chill. What are we doing? It's a psy war now. It's like, again,
it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because it's like, I mean, it's up to those individual artists that they want to remove their song from Spotify.
Oh, yeah, well, that was about COVID though.
No, that's what India RE was. It started from the COVID misinformation.
And then now it's moving towards racism.
Well, it started from the COVID misinformation, the reason why to remove, and then this is a new thing that she brought up, India RE, and that's why she wanted to remove it.
Chill, bro. What are we doing? There's a thing called like psyops,
okay,
right? And like if you follow like spiritual accounts, they bring that up a lot, where it's like, we're having a psy war right now. And when I saw that, I was like, I get it. It's like a marketing war, totally, whatever, trying to control people through the way they think. But like, when you see blatant things like that, I'm like, I feel like there is a psychological war going on, of like a war of attention, basically. Not like a demons thing, like not like anything crazy like that. But I mean, like, we as a species, as a society, are so headline driven, and I think the people that run these organizations are almost having their own battle back and forth of it. That they're trying to cripple us as a society to create more and more division, which is going to end up crumbling our society as a whole. Right? We're going to have like all these protests going on. We're going to have so much like, you're not vaccinated, so I hate you. Which, I mean, like, admittedly, I was so a part of that in the beginning, right? I was like, oh, people who aren't vaccinated, like, are dumb. That's what I was saying too.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, this is what we've become, a society of division. And I think we should really, really look at that idea of division, and they understand we can never understand other people's perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird world. Okay. Boba Fett, you didn't see?
Not yet.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of sign language in it.
Okay.
I was telling you before. I thought that was kind of fascinating. You know, the Eternals girl, the girl who acted, is actually deaf.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought she was the girl from I Am Legend.
No.
Like the mom.
Yeah, no.
No, I thought it was her when I first saw it. I was like, oh, is that her? Yeah. And then I saw her in an interview, like the red carpet, and she was like signing. And I was like, oh, crazy.
Yeah. They got an actual person that's...
I wonder why that's like a big thing right now. Like, Disney is all about, I guess, inclusivity. Yeah, but like, why'd you choose deaf? Like, it's kind of interesting.
Well,
Hawkeye, Boba Fett, Eternals. They're all like highlighting.
Maybe someone in the studio has someone.
Oh, true. That actually, when you said that, I was like, that would actually make sense. That somebody's like, hey, I don't see any representation in my, and they're like, okay, cool. We'll like include you.
Maybe, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to Scream, because I saw that yesterday. Scream had a lot of representation in it. the main character. I thought she was Indian, but your brother and my sister were like, no, she's Colombian or something. She's like in different shows.
I don't know who the main person is. So.
But like, so you're rewatching Scream, the series right now.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that they're all white?
So, yes.
Exactly.
I will say, which is funny. Well, the first movie, there's no mention of anything with race, but in the second Scream movie, it starts off with talking about
race.
Oh, like as if it's all dumb white girl. Like it was Jada Pinkett Smith's character saying that it's all dumb white girls and doing the wrong things and dying or whatever, right? Like
getting
very
caught. Racist of her to say.
Yeah. So in here, there's a bit more of more white people, but there is slowly creep of more African Americans, I believe, in the show or in the second movie. Sorry.
So I think the brilliance of Scream, after watching it and like seeing how they poke fun, is like one. I like the idea of it being like a whodunit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard somebody say like whodunit. I was like, oh no, actually they said it in the movie. That's how I knew the word. They're like, oh, Scream's popular in this new movie. You hadn't seen the new movie, but I saw it.
Okay.
But you're watching all the old ones.
Which is it sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they're extremely meta in this new movie, which I really liked. Like they're talking about horror movies in general. And one of the things they said that made Scream so popular in the early 90s was it was a whodunit. So people on screen, you can actually guess who the killer was. It wasn't like somebody completely, it was like a murder mystery.
Right.
You know? And I think that's cool. The comedic element of it has always made it entertaining. And the meta aspect of it. I think those three things are what make Scream super unique in terms of like horror movies. Because I don't think I've ever seen like an actual horror movie that was scary.
Right.
Like where I was actually, aside from like maybe a ghost one, like I think like horror movies are very difficult to do in general. But the way Scream tackled it was more of like a cult classic kind of thing. And people got really behind it.
Right. Yeah.
Because it wasn't a horror movie. It was like a societal expression. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. It was an interesting way to do it without just being straight horror.
Yeah, like if you just made this guy in this like costume, even his costume is kind of ridiculous. You think about it, it's like a ghost face killer. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's already a comedic look to or like a scary face. Like it's just
yeah.
It just looks weird to have that on and do the things, right? But it's like I like the line that they play at, like trying to be horror and where they know where to play it, like with the music and stuff.
Yes.
Trying to get you with that.
Yes. So that's funny you said the music thing, because there was one scene that I'd like to say that I really missed watching movies with other people, because the people behind us were so funny in their like commentary. But like, so they kept this one scene in the new movie that he'd open up a fridge, and then they'd play like that swell music to make you scared, and they'd close it and there'd be nobody there. You're like, oh man. And they did that like 10 times. Right?
They keep doing that in the old ones too.
Yeah. And I think they're like masters of that. Because as an audience member, like the people behind us were like, oh my God. Like, they were like freaking out the whole time.
Right.
And that was like, they really knew how to play with a theater full of people. And I think that's why it was so good.
Right.
You know, it got like a 9, this new one.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but like, why would you make 5 Screams if it wasn't good, you know?
Yeah.
But compared to like other things like Candyman or like, what's another one? Chucky.
Okay, yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Annabelle.
Halloween. Annabelle, yeah. Like these things weren't very, I don't know, I think you need to always pair comedy with horror. You know?
Well, this was an interesting genre, what they did. Like, I like that aspect of it. The other ones were just straight, like, jump scare types. Or...
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So there was nothing that, like, if you knew where all the jump scares were, you wouldn't be scared of that movie the second time. That's why I've never seen him horror. Like, obviously, there have been scary movies where I'm, like, kind of freaked out. But, like, there's been nothing that you can rewatch and be scared again. Because you know, okay, if this is going to happen.
Yeah. This is just a fun one because it's, again, as you said, the mystery thing. You're trying to figure out also who is the killer along with the characters.
Yeah, totally. But I think they also add the rewatchability for these movies because of the meta aspect of it.
Right.
Because if you know who the killer is, then you're like, well, it's cool because you can watch it again through their eyes. But the social commentary, I think, is like what really sets it apart for other horror movies.
Yeah.
Because there's something more than Although they did poke fun at the last Scream 4, I guess. They said it was too meta.
Too meta. Okay.
People were like thinking it was trying to be too woke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm watching them all, so we'll see.
So you like it? It still holds up?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it was like an early 90s movie. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you're like, those movies don't usually hold up.
Yeah, you said this one is more gory.
Dude.
So that they can't do that in
gnarly.
the old ones. So that's interesting to see. Yeah.
I think people like Quentin Tarantino really opened the door for these kinds of like graphic scenes to be shown in film.
Okay.
So that when it got to Scream now, you can see some crazy, like the knife is really piercing through the cheek or like slashing the throat.
Interesting. Yeah.
And they don't cut away from it.
Right.
Which is like something you didn't really see.
No, you didn't see that. No. Like it seems very sloppy, the way it's done on the old ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that because you were probably so limited. Like, what was that FCC?
The ratings?
Yeah, I think so. Like, is FCC or is that music? FCC with the.
I don't know, maybe it's for both, I think.
Yeah. So like, they probably couldn't.
I don't know if they couldn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's just you just couldn't do it in those times.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The way you tell the story, the kind of technology you have, you couldn't do it.
But not even just technology. The same way. They felt like culturally people weren't ready for it. Like if you watch what
it was funny because they mentioned it was like in the earlier part of the second movie where it's like, oh, does movie violence make you violent?
Ooh,
like they were talking about that.
That's super meta.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and we still talk about that today, right? It's like
video game violence. You mean?
Video game violence, even that thing that happened with the Joker situation at a theater.
Oh yeah.
So that was like blaming the movie. Is it the movie that created the Joker, or the guy's just crazy and imitating Joker or something?
They actually did studies about that though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where it's like that's actually there's no causation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a correlation, but there's no causation there. Like not just watching a violent movie is not going to make you more violent.
So that's what they were arguing that a little bit there too. So
because they caught like controversy.
After probably.
Especially because it's not even a supernatural villain. It's like one of their friends was the killer.
Yeah.
I mean, like I could see it happening though. Like I could see some people.
Sure, but it's not necessarily because of the movie. It's just they were already that kind of person.
Yeah. It like kind of stoked the flame.
Yeah.
But at that point, like anything
can be that, right?
Yeah.
So,
do you remember the sniper killer?
Sniper
way back when it was in America.
Oh yeah.
And he was like hiding inside
Las Vegas shooting, like the real thing.
Oh no, that was more recent. I meant like way back when we were like in our high school days.
No, I don't remember.
And there was a guy who was like he was killing people with a sniper rifle.
No, never.
Oh, I don't remember this. Dude, that's okay. Well, and then I found out. Well, so what he was doing was he was in the trunk of his car, and then he was using the hole as his peep side, like the guy. He made like a hole in the side of his car, so he could like stay inside of his trunk and like, snipe people.
Oh wow!
Why you don't remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, it was all over CNN, and I guess maybe.
I wasn't into news back in that time. That was when news was boring at that time for me.
It was like around the time of like 9/11 or something, and then I think they found out he was an ex-military person who just like snapped, and he was just like all that to say that that would have happened anyways. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure he didn't watch a sniper movie and was like, oh, I could totally do this.
Right.
Like I'm sure like he's been pushed in multiple ways. Yeah. So if you were gonna do it, you would have done it.
Yeah. You'd use any kind of method anyways, so.
Yeah, just food for thought. Yeah, I guess. Oh, I had one last thing that I want to bring up, like, really quickly. It's funny how like ancient stuff, like speaking of principles and stuff, I heard this new word. I hadn't heard it before. So I was at jiu-jitsu and the instructor was like, oh, what do you guys think about when prior to rolling, right? Before you're about to roll with somebody else. And my first thought was, I don't think of anything. I just like try and clear my mind and let my body do what it's going to do, right? I was like, I also don't like to speak up, so I was like, I'm just gonna leave it alone. And then everyone was like, oh, I think about my last roll. Oh, I think about my last roll with that guy. How did I get subbed? How am I not gonna get subbed? And he's like, then he said there's a word in like Japanese called mushin.
Okay.
And it means no mind. He's like, what you should do is you clear your mind and like let your body take over. And I was like, oh, totally. I knew what you're talking about. But I had never heard the word mushin before, so I went home and I Googled it. I'm like, oh yeah, it means like it's the Zen state of like being fully present. And I'm like, it's so funny how everything we do, like the epitome of every action is a no mind state. Like artists talk about being in a flow state. Like basketball players, they just, I can't miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like painters, they're like, oh, it just puts me in the moment, And I think that's like, or like if you're having a conversation with someone and then the time flies.
Yeah.
I feel like these moments are the apex of human experience. I think that's what we're all chasing, Because like, why do you want to hang out with people? Because it puts your mind at ease. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're fully invested in the present moment.
Right.
Like think about, I don't know, just like social gatherings. Like, why do you go to the beach? Like, let's have a barbecue. Oh, I am a barbecue because we're all just going to be there. And I think that is something, like when we talk about spirituality, like the thing that we're missing, like with that whole thing about consumerism, and we lost touch with that. No, I think what we lost touch with was, being present.
In the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, like, see,
you
said in the moment. I said present.
Yeah.
It sounds esoteric.
Yeah.
We should access mushin. We should enter into a Zen state. We should achieve no mind. We should become in meditation, samadhi. Like we have all these words for this one thing that we experience on the daily, and I think that's really fascinating for me because like. I also find it kind of funny 10 steps ahead because like when I do like young Yoda posts and people are like confused, but I'm just talking about that one thing. But
right.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like we've created like it's just one thing that we all know what it feels like, but we've created these class systems of people like I know what it means to go into a Zen state. I know what a flow state is. It's like you've done it. We've all done it. Why do we need to create division? Over something so universal,
right?
And then there are people that like because they've read more text, they're like, no, there's like 7 layers of samadhi, and you're like, dude, why are you gonna further class? You know what I mean? It's like, but have you accessed the ultimate layer of samadhi? Like, dude, shut up, bro. We're all just trying to be in the moment. That's it. Class, ego.
Yeah. That's
right. Like, I know more than you know.
Yeah, that's
But then if you're 10 steps ahead, it's like. You're like, dude, we're talking about the same thing, bro. Just chill. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That's how I like to take spirituality. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, bro. Go do something fun. And then you'll experience that moment. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all. Thoughts on that?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
I think it makes sense.
It's insanity. Like, it goes back to the trucker thing. It's everything we said is just like, we're just in this moment of insanity where we're too much as a society in our like thinking mind, right? We're all like, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Oh, well, what can I do in this situation? Why are they doing this? Blah blah blah. Like so many moments of contemplation, or you don't even know that you're thinking about those things.
It's more just reactionary.
Yes,
you're just acting in reaction, not.
You become reactionary when you don't understand that those thoughts are happening.
Yeah.
But if you're able to find moments of like release, you know, like for example, one of the exercises for alleviating anxiety is journaling. You write down your thoughts. Yeah. But why does that work? Because you're doing something. You're in alignment with you're actively engaged. I feel like people are just not actively engaged anymore. We're looking for that engagement. That's why we hop on the
Is it anymore, or have we always been like that?
Could be. I don't actually know. That's actually a great question. Like maybe we've always been like that, and the age of illumination has brought us into this zone. Actually, it's funny you say that, because I remember when I wasn't in martial arts or yoga yet. I was a little kid, and I was searching for how to make sai balls. Out of like I saw it online, and you make like sai balls like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, that's so sick. And then I was like, we were watching this like anime with my cousin, and my cousin was like, oh, have you ever meditated? Because she saw me trying to make a sai ball. Damn, I'm dropping everything. She saw me trying to make a sai ball, and she's like, have you ever meditated? I'm like, no, what is that? She's like, oh yeah, it's just where you clear your mind. And I'm like, we all knew what it was, but nobody knew how to get there. And then it made me think, like what you just said, like maybe we've always just been like that. But the age of illumination has allowed more of us to understand the bigger picture of what that thing is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The access to that information is out there.
Yeah.
Now more than ever.
Now. Yeah. And I think that access to information is showing what a divide there is as well. Because there are people that just don't know what those things are.
Yeah.
And I feel like people's lives would be way better if you just knew how to do something for fun. And then find people that you like to do things for fun with. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you have a good life? You access moments of presence, or AKA do something that's fun.
Yeah.
And then how do you cement that in your life? Find more people that you like to do things for fun with, and spend your time doing fun things with fun people.
Yeah.
And that's how you get into the present moment, through like fun.
Yeah. It sounds
so simple and dumb.
Yeah.
If I told something that, like, I've actually told people that actually.
No, I know, but then they would
wrong.
They would react in a way. Fun it's like a kid thing. It's not an adult thing.
Exactly, and that's why in spirituality there's a different line where they go, be childlike, but don't be childish.
Right.
So like when you say that, like, oh, that's just for kids. Yeah, it's a childish behavior, but you can still be childlike, where you're having fun with your thing.
Right.
Okay, but that speaks to like consumerism and like a lot. Like you're like, oh, you shouldn't have fun. It's like, that's what Peter Pan said, man. Peter Pan's like, I never want to grow up, and people were like, what do you mean? That was actually cemented in my mind for so long.
Right.
You know, even on my website, it's like Lost Boy of '88 because I was born in '88, and like Lost Boy because those people just didn't want to grow up. But what does growing up mean? It's like no more fun, no more games, no more playing.
Yeah, that was it.
But that was like the cornerstone, or like at the heart of that analogy, or like story.
Yeah.
Right, but it's so fundamental, because if you lose that access to play, you lose the present moment.
Yeah.
But don't be childish. Be childlike.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spend your life doing fun things with fun people. That's how we're gonna end this one.
It's a good way to end it.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.